back to Unladylike Opinions. This is All American Season 4, Episode 3, All I Need. So the episode starts off with Spencer jogging down the street, speaking to everybody. Then he arrives at home. He sees the coach from Toledo there. And Spence was like, if I knew you was here, I wouldn't have kept you waiting. And they want Spence to come play as a true freshman in the spring so he can get up to speed. And Spence said, that's in a few weeks. And he was like, I haven't graduated yet. And he was like, lucky for you and me that you are good in class and also off the field. You're just as good in class. Grace said you have all your credits already, and principal and Billy has already signed off for approval for your early graduation. So coach tells him to take some time to think about it. He's not going to leave out until tomorrow. So he was like, get back to me by then. So Jordan is showing Billy his, football video, trying to get, some recruitments to a D1 school. And he said him and Montez sent this video out multiple NCAA schools, but no one has responded yet. And Billy said they will all be there at the Platinum All-American game. And Jordan said, I'm the 5th quarterback on the depth of the chart, so I don't think I'm going to get any playing time. And he said, I'm pretty sure she going to let you play. And Jordan was like, she? He was like, yes, Coach Montez just got named the coach for the Western Conference. And Jordan is extra excited, but he knows that Coach Montez doesn't play favorites, but he does have a chance at playing with her being coach. So he asked, how did she get the job? He said, Billy was like, y'all won state, and she is a good coach. And Jordan sits down and he said, we won on a bad call, and South Crenshaw was supposed to have the title, and you should be the coach. And Billy said he would love the opportunity to coach Jordan one more time, but he is glad that somebody that knows him can do it. So Coach Montez is telling Asher that Coastal California rescinded his scholarship, but they will still honor his acceptance into the school. So he said he is not surprised because of his heart condition, and she tells him he can still apply for grants and financial aid. He said without football, Coastal doesn't seem like the right fit for him. And he was like, I'm working on a plan B. And he tells Coach he is going to let her get back to working on the next season. And she was like, actually, it's the place for the Western Conference. And she was like, why don't you come help me on the sidelines? But he was like, he doesn't want to be that close to football right now because it hurts too bad because he can't play. So you see Layla in the studio, and Preach walks in. Apparently she been calling Preach all day, and he was like, you ain't got to hound me like I wasn't coming. I worked all night last night. At least offer me some coffee. And Layla said, I booked studio time for Coop, and she hasn't been showing up. And I know she been helping you with Amina, but 10% of nothing is nothing. We need to push Coop back into the studio. Preach thinks she needs more time after being shot. Change things for Coop. And Layla said, I've had my own trauma, and I think what we need to do is push her back into what she loves. And they have an album to finish. And she tells Preach he needs to do better. And once the album is done, he doesn't have to work nights anymore. Preach walks out. So Spence is telling Olivia about enrolling in Toledo early, and Liv thinks it's a good idea. He said he can start as a true freshman, and Coach Dante hasn't been answering his call. He waiting on him to call back before he give his decision. And he said he wanted to talk to Liv first before he made the decision, because this is not how they imagine their senior year going. And she was like, you would be crazy not to take this opportunity. So she said, you leaving in 2 weeks, and we waited so long to be together. And Spence was like, I'm going to make sure these last 2 weeks are special. Wait until tonight. So back at Crenshaw High School, Billy walks right past Spencer again, and Spencer stops him and thanks him for signing off on the early graduation. Billy said, you worked hard for this. And Spencer said, well, I'm going to let you get back to it. And he walks off into his office. So Coop is talking with Preach's daughter, and she asks Coop why did her and her mom get shot. And she said she know they got shot at the same time, and she figured Coop may know why. Then Preach walks up, and Coop was like, dang, perfect timing or whatever, because Amina was just pressing me about her mama and how she got shot. And she said she need to know now before she go looking for the answers. And Preach said, leave Amina to me, but when you gonna tell Layla you quit music? And he said he doesn't like She said she doesn't like lying to Layla, and Coop said he doesn't like lying to Layla, and Coop said she gonna tell her, but she been busy helping him with Amina. So Pre said, I'm a single dad working night shift for my daughter, but I still find time to talk to Layla about your contract. Now stop making your problems mine. She said she get it. She the reason for everything that's gone wrong in his life, and she gonna stay out of his life for good. He said, that's not what I meant, Coop, but she walks off. So Liv is talking with her sponsor, and she said, last time you felt like everyone was leaving you, you relapsed. And Liv said she feels different and stronger this time. She asked what was on her mind, and she asked if she was in a relationship, and she was like, she been with her girl for five years. And she said because being in recovery, she wanted to wait to sleep with Spencer because of her sobriety. With him leaving, she doesn't want to wait until she is 90 days sober. She said, this relationship is different and it's freaking me out. And her sponsor said, it's freaking you out because this is special and what you and Spencer have is real. She said, only you know when the time is right. And she asked her, was Spencer pressuring her to have sex? And she said, no, but it's weird that he, hasn't asked for it. And the sponsor was like, on that note, I'm going to go because y'all drama giving me a headache. And they do this little handshake and she leaves. So Spencer is showing his mom pictures of where he wants to take Liv for a date night. And Grace says she is impressed and proud of him. Said she hasn't seen him this excited about a girl since middle school. And he said this one is special and the night gotta be perfect. So they talk about the last week he got left, and she asked if he is ready for this. And he said, I am, but are you? And she said, I'll never be ready to hand over my first baby. And I knew exactly what she meant because I sent my firstborn son off to college last year, and I'm still recovering from it now. He said he is excited, but until he leaves, he wants to enjoy his people. And they say they're going to play putt-putt to get more bun before his date. So Jordan's talking to Coach Montez about playing during the All-American game, and she said she is not sure what else he can do to bring in the offers he wants. And he asked her what more could he do, and she then tells him to sit down, and she was like, you had 2 concussions, and the D1 coaches she talked to doesn't want to risk a roster spot for a player that won't last a year playing football with all them concussions. And he is disappointed as hell, per usual. So Spence and Grace are playing putt-putt, and she beats him, and she asks what Billy had to say about his news. And she asks, what was going on with them two, and he said, everything is fine. And then she calls his full name, and he was like, dang, Mom, my whole government name? And he said things haven't been the same since Coach found out that he was training Jordan before he was cleared. And she said, you already apologized for that. He said, like you said, people are only in your life for a season. She said, I only told you that because I wanted you to get over that fast tail girl Chanel you was messing with. So Spencer said, we are just player and coach. And he said, those were his words, not mine. So now I just want to spend the time with the ones that want me in their life. And then you see Layla at the cafe, and she noticed that Asher is staring at his computer looking lost, and she asked what was going on. And he said he had to write a college essay on what he loved the most. And she said, you don't want to write about football, huh? And she tells him she is impressed with how he's handling things because the old Asher would have self-destructed by now. He said he had his moments, but he remembers self-destruction is the reason that he got on steroids and has a heart condition right now. So that's the reason he can't play football. So she said, you learned your lesson. Asher said, I lost my first love, football, in Coastal. I think I learned a lot of lessons. She shuts his computer and tells him to come with her today. Hang out with her today. And see if she can sign this artist she been wanting to sign. And back at Crenshaw, Jordan is talking to Billy about people not wanting him because of his concussion. Billy tells him protocols are getting more strict. And Billy suggests he try a junior college, but Jordan said he always dreamed of being under the bright lights. And Billy said he can prove himself at a JUCO program and put up good numbers, and a D1 school will come calling and he can get a transfer. He tells him to sleep on it, and Jordan said, I don't have to. I know what I need to do, and I trust your advice, so I'll do it. And then Grace walks in and said, Billy Baker, we gotta talk. And you see Spencer on the swings with Coop, and she said she won all the Toledo attire. And she was like, what else they got? And Spencer said they got some scarves. And Coop said, oh, what I'm gonna do with a scarf in LA? And he asked Coop to come with him to Toledo. And Coop said, move to Kansas. And Spencer said, it's Ohio. And she said, ain't nothing here for me. My life is here. And he said, good, because I thought you forgot that how you pushing everybody away. And Coop tells him he need to worry about his date with his girl. And Coop said, fancy dinner is not enough. You got to think about what's going to happen afterwards. And he tell her to chill. And Coop said, oh, wait, y'all ain't did the nasty yet, huh? And Spencer laughed, and Coop said he looked more nervous than a virgin on prom night. And she said, oh, you can be in my business, but I can't be in yours. And he tells her not to let him leave without seeing she got good people to help her through everything. And he tells her she pushing away a good friend just to hold on to something that is already gone, with not telling Layla about, not being able to do music anymore. So she said it's hard to say the words, I quit, but she gonna work things out with Preach and Layla, and he ain't gonna have to worry about her coming to Toledo Bluff. So back at Crenshaw, Billy said he didn't want to run. He was like, you didn't have to run Jordan off. And Grace said, I guess he didn't want to see his father get his ass handed to him. I know that's right, Grace. So she said, you have always been more than a coach to Spencer, and you know that. And he sits down and said, oh, he told you that? And she was like, And he said he was angry, and she said he made a mistake, and I need to run down all the list of all the dumb stuff and mistakes that you made? We had a whole affair that almost destroyed 2 families, and he forgave us for that. It destroyed 1 family because he still got his, and y'all ain't been the same since. So Grace said, tell me something that makes some damn sense. And he said it was not about Spencer training Jordan anymore, or it probably never was. He said it was easier to be angry at Spencer than admit he failed his son. He said Jordan is doing so much good with going to therapy. He's thriving, and he actually said that he trusted me today. And none of this would have happened if it wasn't without Spencer. And Spencer helped with Jordan when Jordan was spiraling, and he was too busy. Grace said, you and Jordan are good now, so make things right with Spencer. He said he think he broke things between them, and how he gonna get it back. And she said about remembering shame ain't stronger than family. And she tells him to fix it, and she walks out. So Spencer and Olivia arrive at their spot for the date, and she thinks they're going to the Castle Park to play, arcades and all that. And he said, no, I made reservations at the Black Floor, but I can cancel. She was like, you don't have to do that. He was like, no, I will cancel it. So they cancel, and they talk all the noise to each other. And they walk in, start playing all the games and taking pictures in the photo booth. And, she started killing him on a little basketball game. Then we see Coop walking into the cafe, and she see Preach and Amina. Preach is telling Amina her mom would want her to focus on herself, and she is his number 1 priority. Then Coop walks up and asks, when he get a minute, can they talk? And, Amina said if it's okay, if Uncle Tyrone was alive, he would have been found answers of who shot my mama. So Coop tells him he need to go talk to her. And Coop said, you need to go talk to her. And he said, and say what? Because what she said ain't wrong. She said she came by to apologize. He said, I need to apologize about this more than myself. He said he wasn't ready to speak truth, because truth, knowing how much it was going to hurt the person he loved. And she said, the truth is this, isn't the same. It isn't the same. You trying to protect your child's innocence. And I was silent to protect myself. And now it's her Layla. She said, Amina ain't no regular kid. She got a lion in her just like you. And he said, that's what worries me. And Asher and Layla are celebrating because she signed an artist that she been looking at for a while. And he tells her she was the baddest chick in the room for slaying it like that. And they lock eyes, and then she leans in and kisses him. And then, they do the do in the studio. Then we get to Spence and Liv kissing all on the car. And he tells her to, she should come back to his place because his mom is gone. And she asks him if they can talk. And she said she know he been wondering why they haven't made love yet. And he said he wasn't trying to ask her that. And she was like, no, I know. And I appreciate you for not rushing things. It's not like it's the first time for either of us. And Spence said, it is. I haven't been rushing because being with you is a big deal for me. He said it's different being with you. So when we ready, we will be ready, but we can take it slow. And I can make out with you against this car all night. Why rush perfect? And she said, what was all that about going to your place? And he said, oh, I made dessert. And she started laughing real hard. And Spencer looks at her and says, I'm so in love with you. And they leave to get the dessert. But he gets a text from Billy. So Ash and Layla are laying on the floor eating takeout and drinking wine, and Asher wants to talk about what happened, and Layla said, that was celebratory sex, and he said that's not a thing, and she said, well, I just made it one, and he said it works for him, and he said she figured since he called Olivia, she figured it would since he called Olivia his first love a few hours ago, and he was like, I wasn't talking about Olivia, I was talking about you, Layla. And she said, oh, and he said, I'm not making it a thing, and we are better, and Layla 2.0 is better. And she made me realize that Asher 2.0 can be better too. And she said Asher 1.5 isn't so bad, and they laughed. And he said losing football has given him a second chance, and he asked what he can do with it. And he said he got to figure it out, and he tells her it didn't take long for her to sign a new artist after she lost Coop. And she looked shocked and was like, how did I lose Coop? And then they flash over to Spencer arriving at Crenshaw, and all the players are in the hallway, and he greets them, and nobody knows what's going on. And then Billy comes out, and he said he's wanted to talk to all his graduating seniors as their coach one more time. He said, when y'all look back, it's not going to be what happened on that field that you remember. The most is going to be is about the people and each other. He said, even if he forgets that football is more than just a game, and he pulls out gifts for them. He said they always be more than players to him, and he will always be more than the coach. And he looks directly at Spencer when he says this. So he gives them rings and tells them to look on the inside of it. And the inside is engraved saying they won, because they really did win, but they gave it to Beverly. And Coop comes in to talk to Layla, and she said, I know, no need. She was like, no need. I heard you might be quitting. And she was like, I apologize for not telling you sooner. And she tries to tell her, about her lungs. But Layla in straight boss mode and was like, put a paper on the table and with a pen. And she said, I'm going to finish your album with my new artist. Her vocals work well with your tracks. And Coop said, you can't do that. That's my music. She said, I can, because it's my music and my label, and I can do what I want with it. And Coop said, you really going to do me dirty like this? And I thought we was family. And Layla said, I did too. I wasted time, energy, and money in the last 3 weeks prepping the album release that was already in the water. She said, from now on, I'm going to do what's best for my business, and that starts with your signature on this paper right here. So Coop signs the paper, and she's like, dang. And then we see Asher finally writing his paper for his college acceptance, and you see Billy coming downstairs and asks why Jordan texts him and tell him to come downstairs. And you see Coach Montez and Jordan, and she said she got some JUCO programs that she wanted them to look into, but she really wanted to see if he wanted to join her team as assistant coach. And he said he can't say no to coaching his boys one last time. So Coop is bringing food to Amina when she sees Amina close the laptop down real fast, and she tells her to go wash her dirty hands. And Coop looks at the laptop, and she sees that she was looking up articles about her mom Mo. So now Asher's writing his paper talking about change and finding something new that makes him feel alive and whole. So Spence and the Toledo coach taking pics, and he said he can't wait to work with Coach Dante. But then the coach was like, oh, he's not there anymore. He been gone for weeks. or whatever. So is there gonna be a problem with a new coach? And you know, Spencer says no, but you know, you can see it written all over his face that it's gonna be a problem, and he didn't have to say a word because it was all there. But that was my review of All American. I will talk to you guys later. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and all that. Goodbye.